Hello and welcome to my channel. I thought since it's so stormy outside we're going to do a full glam makeup tutorial, makeup look. It's not really a tutorial, I'm just going to do my makeup and talk a little bit about the products. And if you want to, you can do your makeup with me, or you can just watch the video. In any way, thank you so much for clicking on my video. I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel if you do like this video, and let's get into it. So I don't know what it is about storm in summer, but it makes me wanna glam up my face. So when it's good weather in summer, I want to keep it light with the skin tints and all that stuff. But as soon as it's a little bit stormy, I want to go full glam. So I figured that's what we're going to do. The star of the show today is my new Huda Beauty Brown Obsessions palette in the shade Toffee. This has been out for a little while, but I didn't have this one yet. I did use it a couple of times already and I really like it. But we're going to do a nice smoky look with this together. And the other products I'll just mention as we get to them. I'm going to start with my eyes, and I'm of course going to prime with my Anastasia Beverly Hills eye primer. So I think I want to do a smoky eye where the lid is darker than the crease. And then maybe pop a little bit of metallic shimmer right in the middle. So I'm first going with a big packing brush, I guess, into the mustardy yellow. I'm going to put this in the crease pretty high. You'd say this brush is so big that it doesn't really serve a purpose anymore, but I find it quite useful. You do get a lot of surface area in one go. So this isn't a review or anything, but look at how nice and pigmented that yellow is. My mom actually gifted this palette to me because I was looking for something yellow to wear with all my new yellow clothes. Because this brush is also a little bit fluffy, I can use it to pack on the color, but also blend it out. For these kind of looks, it's actually quite useful. Alright, let's deepen it up a little bit. I'm going into this shade. This is a nice, slightly deeper version of the other shade. I really like that it's in this palette. Right, now I'm going straight into the deepest shade, the brown one. Still with the same brush, and I'm going to put this on the lid. And I'm also going to blend it out slightly into the crease, but not too high. Now I'm going back into the second shade that I used, and I'm just going to make sure everything is blended. And then of course I'll also need to go back into the yellow. There actually is also a lighter shade, sort of a cream shade. And I'm just going to take that to blend out the yellow. It's not really necessary for this look, but why not? It's there. So I guess this smoky eye isn't really that dramatic. This dark brown shade doesn't go very deep, but I do like this. For the lower lash line, I'm taking this packing brush from Essence, which kind of looks like the previous one, but is a little bit smaller. And I'm going straight into the deepest shade and putting that all the way through the lower lash line. And then because there's a little bit fewer space underneath my eyes, I'm going straight into the bright yellow to blend this out. So I'm skipping over the darker mustard shade. Making sure the sides are connected. So that's already a little bit smokier. Now I'm going to take my finger and I'm taking the bronzy shade over here. I'm going to pop that in the center. And I'm taking it all the way up to the brow bone, but I am staying in the middle. And I'm taking that bigger blending brush or backing brush to blend it out a little bit. I think that looks kind of pretty. I have this golden eye pencil from Dior. This was from their holiday collection last year. I don't really love this, it's not very pigmented. Or it just doesn't stay on the waterline, I'm not really sure. But then for my top lashes, I'm taking some of this Lift Up mascara from Catrice. But I think I am going to put on false lashes today. So for false lashes, I have these from Douglas. I just found these in store a couple of weeks ago and they were on sale for €4, so that's quite the steal. And I wore them once and I really liked them. They're this nice fluffy look, but they're not up to my eyebrow. So I think they're perfect for a look just like this one. Alright, I let them dry for about half a minute. Alright, lashes are on. This is what they look like. So they're sort of, well, of course they're more dramatic than my usual lashes, but they're not completely in your face dramatic. So I think I like them. I'm having a little trouble with the lash glue. I used the glue that comes with the lashes and no, I think it's alright. Just taking a makeup wipe and removing some of the fallout. Or all of it, but there wasn't a lot. I want to use my Airbrush Flawless Foundation by Charlotte Tilbury today. And I've recently discovered that also this matte foundation is worn best, for me at least, with a smoothing primer such as the La Buzz from Lancôme. This one is this one is almost finished, and since the little pump thing broke off, I actually have to go in with a brush like this to get anything out. But I don't want to waste it, so that's what I'm doing. And then I just wipe off the brush with my makeup wipe. It's not a big deal. It's not a luxury experience, not in the least, but it's not a big deal. The product is already becoming a little bit thicker in the tube. But I'm almost gone. I'm almost finished with it. So before I go into foundation, I want to use a color corrector. I don't usually do this, but I find I have slightly dark circles today and I don't know, I want to use it. I also like using this on top of darker post-blemish marks. So the color corrector I'm using is from Becca. And I guess when I'm finished with this one, I'll need to find a new brand. See, it is effective. But I still have so much left in this one. I'm not going to buy a backup. I always forget how good a color corrector is. Taking a little bit on my nose, a little bit on these blemishes right here. That's already a lot better. I mean, I didn't usually mind any of these spots, but if I'm going for the full glam experience, then I want to cover them up. So now I am going into the foundation. I have mine in the shade 1 Neutral. And this time I'm only going to take out a pump and a half, because every time I use this foundation I use way too much, and there's no need for that. Especially when I'm using this primer. This foundation spreads out so far. I mean, you can see it. I still have a little bit left for my forehead. Yes, this is plenty. I think that's blended out. Okay. It's starting to get a little bit light for me. Just like half a shade. It will oxidize a little bit more. So I think it's actually perfect. Now for concealer, I wanted to use my Too Faced Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer. Yes, I think that's the one. I have mine in the shade Cloud. I don't do this all the time anymore, but when I'm using a very much lighter concealer, I still like to highlight the center points of my face. Especially for these little bit more glam looks. And I'm taking my Primark 4D concealer brush and I'm blending it out. I'm so happy I discovered this brush. I wanted the Sigma one for a while, but it's like, I don't know, €20 or something. Which is not a ridiculous amount, but I didn't want to spend it on a brush. This one was €4 and it's working fine. Just going back with my foundation brush to blend out the edges. And now before I set the face, I actually have an additional step for today's video. This is not something I do all the time, but I wanted to contour my face a little bit. I think I did do this in one of my latest videos, but I'm not sure. I posted a picture not too long ago on Instagram. And one of my best friends said my face shape was completely different. And that was on a day I was using this product. So I feel like it may have been very effective. This is the contour stick by ABH, by the way, and I have it in the shade Shadow. And then my most recent trick for using this product is to use a foundation brush. Preferably one with a little bit leftover foundation on it. To make sure that everything blends into the skin seamlessly. And then I'm going in with my foundation brush to make perfectly sure that there are not a lot of edges. And I think this way it looks natural enough. I definitely have a little bit more defined cheekbones, but it's not like I have a stripe on my face, I don't think. I like it this way. I also like doing the contour thing on the top of my nose, just because it gives me a little bit more of a button nose effect, which I actually have, but the foundation takes that away. And then now I am going to powder, and for powder I'm going into my Givenchy Prisme Libre powder. And I'm first taking a small brush. This is the way it comes out in the cap. And I blend it until it's sort of a grayish, bluish color. And then I use this mainly to set my concealer, because it is a very bright powder, but it's also extremely blurring. See how nice that looks? And they do have other shades. I also have the pink one. Maybe I should try mixing the pink one and the white one, because the pink one is actually a little bit too dark for me. I like the shade, but it makes my skin darker. And that's not something I want. And then I'm taking my bigger powder brush and I'm just dusting over the edges of my face with whatever powder is remaining. And this way you can still see all the sculpting that I just did. So now I'm looking very pale with very dark eyes. Let's fix that. I'm going to start with bronzer, and for bronzer and blush I chose to use this Cheek Stars palette by Benefit. This was the palette they came out with in 2020. They always come out with this sort of palette in the spring. Anyway, it has Hoola in it, the bronzer, and it has a couple of more neutral toned blushes, and I figured that would match the eye look. And Hoola is a little bit dark for me, but I like it on a little bit more glamorous occasion. I actually have one of their palettes that they released this year. They released a couple. And I believe the Hoola in that palette is actually a little bit lighter than this one. And a little bit more cool toned. This one is nice and effective. And I'm going to leave my jawline alone, because I already used the contour and I don't want to bronze my chin. Or maybe a little bit my chin, but not my actual jawline. And since I already have it in my hands, I'm also going to use one of these blushes. And I kind of feel like using Dallas. Or is that too pinky? I'm going to use Sugar Bomb, and I'm going to try to stay in the yellow area. Yes, that makes for a nice, glowy, mustardy blush. Yes, I like that. Now I'm jumping over to brows. And for my brows today, I want to use my Dior Pump'N'Brow first. I'm just trying out something new here. And then I'm going to add a couple of strokes with my ABH Browwiz. Most days I actually just leave it like this. And I think the brow gel is thickening up a little bit since I bought it, and it's very effective now. I can really make these large fluffy brows, and I really like that. I am going to take a little bit of the brow pencil, because I have a little bit of a undefined tail on this side. And actually also on this side. I use a lot less brow pencil when I do it like this. Alright, only a few things left. For highlighter, I want to use my Dior highlighting palette in number 3 gold. And I always go into this shade. Look at that. I know a super blinding highlight isn't for everyone anymore, if it ever was. But for a look like this, and it melts in seamlessly into the blush, I just think it's so pretty. Now, I figured we'd do something fun with the lips. I could of course do something of a brown or some nude, but I wanted to do red, because I feel like red also matches the vibe I'm going for. So I'm taking this lip pencil by Becca. Oh, that's a coincidence. I hardly ever use Becca products and now there are 2 in one video. And I'm going to line my lips with this. Oh, it's in the shade Playful. This is actually a little bit more of a cool toned red. It's almost more of a raspberry. I want to try topping it with this gloss. This is a very old gloss by Dior. I don't think they make this anymore, so I'm not going to list it. Any kind of red, dark red gloss will do. What do we think? Is this nice? I would usually just go in with a lipstick, but since I colored in half of my lips with eyeliner, I thought I'd give this a try. I kind of like it. I'm just going to leave it at that. So this is the finished makeup look. I had a lot of fun creating this. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, please consider subscribing to my channel and I will see you in the next one.